let you take it. So here you go.
All right, sounds good. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. Mhm. And we'll get started real quick here. Let's see. So, my name's Jerry. I am over this particular division of the purchasing agent's office, which is it's called the purchasing services, and we handle surplus and auctions. So, um, we had among other things, but what we're talking about today is mainly the internal reallocation of surplus, and we have a whole lot of surplus usually, and we try to recycle it back into Harris County. So, just kind of a quick visual of kind of the things that we could potentially have: a lot of chairs, a lot of office furniture, file cabinets, IT equipment, monitors, printers, all kinds of different things. But we also work with Public Surplus, which is our auctioneering service. It's a third party auctioneering service that we use to auction off all our surplus, and they have a employee only access to the internal reallocation of surplus, which we offer to all the employees. According to the local government code, uh, to prevent unnecessary purchases, the Harris County purchasing agent, with your approval of Commissioners Court, um, has to offer, all this surplus for reallocation to all the county departments at no charge. So for all those departments that have small budgets or that don't have budgets, there is a lot of surplus available for these departments. A lot of departments do not know that we even exist, and usually, through my years of being with Harris County, a lot of departments, they have some pretty rough furniture. They have some pretty rough offices in some places. And a lot of them don't know that they can actually, kind of upgrade. They're sitting on broken chairs, broken drawers on desks, and just, are dealing with worn out equipment, IT equipment, and they don't know that we exist. So again, we're here to serve every single department, and they can come down here and transfer items to themselves at no cost to their department. The employee access. So public surplus designed basically a section within the public surplus website, because the public surplus website is a public website where government agencies sell all their surplus. So it's nationwide. We got people from uh, every state pretty much in there selling surplus. But they designed a specific section to this particular website for employee access only, for us to list internal auctions. Um, and they gave us an access code, and we offer that access code to all the employees. Matter of fact, we encourage it, that they know, especially management, supervisors and people that deal with a lot of employees, for them to know that this is available. Um, as you can see here, the employee only access um, part of a public surplus has a link, and it's got a registration code, which I'll be kind of walking y'all through right now. So basically, once you click that link, and I'm going to be providing that link in the chat. Um, I'll provide all that information also in the chat. But anyway, as soon as you click that link, it'll take you to the registration page for Harris County Purchasing Employees. And the first thing that it asks you for is a registration code. And as you've seen right before here, we have a registration code here. And that's the code that you would enter into this particular slot here. Further down the screen, you have just all the basic information: email address, name, location, phone number, and of course, you got to create a username and password. One of the things that I tell people is to use their work email. Since this is an employee account, to use their work email, because they will be receiving emails in the future of new auctions of interest. And when I mean auctions of interest, that means internal auctions. We call them internal auctions. Um, and so we always ask people to make sure that they use their employee email, employee location, employee phone number, their location number and all that. And same thing when it comes to the username, we discourage people to use their email address. A lot of people use their email address, but We discourage that because with this particular account, you can also bid on public auctions. So that's why we discourage the use of an email for a username. Going through to the next page, this is basically just an agreement page. On the agreement page here, you just have to agree to the terms of the buyer agreement and accept it and move on to the next page. This last page here basically just gives you a rundown of everything you've already entered, the registration code, your email address and all the information. And at this point, you would just press register, move on to the next page, and it asks you to send yourself an email for the confirmation number that it'll produce. And you click on that at the bottom. It'll send you an email with the confirmation number. You would then come to this next page here and you would plug in that confirmation number. I always tell people to copy the confirmation numbers because I know some people, when they're registering, sometimes they have a little bit of trouble with the registration codes or even the access code that we give them. If you don't put the spaces and all that. So I usually ask people, hey, make sure you just copy the code and put it in there. Same thing with confirmation codes. Copy them and put them in there because sometimes they have spaces in there and they're required. But after you put in your confirmation code, you confirm and you move on. And then it'll take you to this login screen. You log in and it'll take you to an actual login page. You log in with your credentials that have been given to you. And then when it's the first time, and the reason I wanted to kind of go over it is it's kind of a long drawn out process, but first time it'll do a multi-factor authentication. So it'll send you another email after you log in and it'll ask you to put in the code. You put it in, you submit it. And then the first page you come to is this just kind of general knowledge, kind of a banner that shows up, and you can close it, you can move on, and it comes up to this interest list. And this is more for public auction. As you can see, it'll show in this area, like the available categories. We have a whole bunch of categories that are in this particular website because different agencies sell all kinds of stuff. We sell all kinds of stuff too, but some agencies sell real estate. Some agencies, they sell livestock and all kinds of stuff. So they'll have all these different categories and you can add these categories and it'll remind you when something like this comes up. And then you can select also the region that you want to look at in this particular area. Normally I tell people not to really mess with this. I'll just tell them to go ahead and just hit cancel and or save and then just move on. If you move on, what it does, it'll email you email you a list of all the new auctions that we post, internal auctions. So these are internal auctions for reallocation. We normally don't release internal auctions, but maybe once a week, and typically like the week right after Commissioner's Court, because we have the approval letter and we're able to sell and reallocate a bunch of assets. So typically you won't be getting a whole bunch of emails with auctions of interest from public surplus. You'll get them occasionally. But Tuesdays are normally our days when you'll see new stuff come up. Once you log in, once you hit cancel on that other page, you log in, it'll come up to this little page here. And the first thing you want to do is you want to click on auctions. You click on auctions, it'll take you to an actual auction page. These are actually live auctions here. And then we tell people to normally come to the little drop down here and you want to choose internal auctions only. So when you click on internal auctions, as you can see, you have the description of an auction here. It's got pictures. It tells you how long it's got left before it closes, and it tells you what the current price is. Well, as soon as you click internal auctions, the look changes a little bit. It'll have basically the same information, but every description will have a little key on it, and that key means that it's an internal auction. Again, you can look at auctions here by clicking on them, clicking on the pictures, and it'll tell you how many days are left on that particular internal auction. So it still has 5 days. In this particular instance, it has 5 days before it'll roll over to public auction. So this is kind of what you see as soon as you register. These are kind of what you need to know right when you register. I'm gonna go into a little bit more depth in a minute on a live view of the actual website. That way y'all can see exactly what we have and what we do, and the type of items that we have for internal reallocation and for auction. But just to go over a few points that are important, all internal auctions are released on a first come, first served basis. So we want people to know that we're not gonna hold anything for you. Because we have a lot of stuff in the warehouse that's not available yet, because it still hasn't gone to Commissioners Court for approval for transfer. So you may visit our location and see a bunch of things that you like, but they won't be available until we get Commissioners Court approval, and then we'll be able to transfer them. Some people might come in here and say, hey, could you tell me when this comes up? Normally, it's first come, first served basis. We have a lot of departments that come here on a regular basis, departments like the sheriff's departments. They come here a lot. They take a lot of chairs. They go through a lot of chairs in the jails. They're sitting in them 24/7, so they wear out some chairs pretty quick. So they do a lot of chairs. But so Harris County employees, that's the second bullet point. Harris County employees must come and inspect the items in person before they sign them out. This is important because you may be able to see the items online and see the pictures and get a pretty good idea of what it looks like. But we encourage everybody to come out and view the item in person, check it. If it's a monitor, if it's a printer, if it's whatever, if it's a computer or a tablet or a laptop that you want to pick out, or sometimes we have cameras, sometimes we have a bunch of different things. You want to come out and test it, make sure that it works. You just don't want to try to sign it out. And we don't just sign things out without an actual inspection by the department. And the reason is because there's been times in the past, many years ago, where people would come and pick out stuff or they would call us and say, hey, I want this and this and that. You take it to them and they're like, well, it looked better in the picture. Oh, it's not the right size, or or it didn't work the way I thought it was going to work. So we don't waste anybody's time. We prefer that everybody come out and inspect the items. The next one is also very important. Unauthorized inventory signer must sign for the assets being released. So every department has an inventory liaison, and whether they're authorized to sign or not, they should know who's authorized to sign for any inventory changes to their department. What I suggest most people to do is contact that person before you visit us and let them know that you're going to be here, because especially if you want to come here to pick something out and you plan on taking it with you when you come, what we normally do is we have you fill out all the paperwork, and then we send that paperwork to that person that's authorized to sign, and we want them to sign for it before we release anything. So, and this is just the checks and balances. We want to make sure that person in charge of inventory knows what's going to be in their inventory. So we want to make sure that people are not using this for personal use at home or anything like that. This is strictly office use. So that's very important. So we always ask people to make sure they know who their authorized signer is for their department, and every department has one. Right now we're getting close to the end of inventory completion days. So we're receiving a lot of inventory completions. So those people know exactly what I'm talking about, and they have to sign off on their inventory every single year. That's something that we're mandated by too. So anyway, delivery is available. We're not same day delivery. We're not like Gallery Furniture, same day, come pick it out and we deliver it today, but we can schedule you in. We only have one truck in our department, and we have a pair of guys that do all the pickups for Harris County, and they do all the deliveries from here also. So normally they're on a schedule. Most of the deliveries are scheduled, and usually they're scheduled in accordance to what side of town they're going. So we try to accommodate people, but a lot of times, it could be a week, away that you'll get your items, or if they have a visit to that place the next day because they have a pickup there or something, it could be that next day that you get your items delivered. So it just all depends on their availability and their schedule. Another thing that we ask departments when they come down here, especially if they're picking out furniture and things of that nature, to communicate if they have any surplus. A lot of times, you may have a department that has really old furniture or fallen apart furniture or whatever may be the case. and they need furniture picked up. Or they just want to change the look of their office because they found something that's, a lot nicer from here. We need to know that, because if we go down there, we may have other things scheduled, or we may have a full truck that we can't take what you have. So make sure that you communicate with the personnel here in our office that you have a surplus to be picked up also when they deliver your surplus items. The last here is basically our hours, purchase and services hours are Monday through Thursday. We're closed on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And our hours are from 7 a.m. to 11:30. We break half an hour for lunch. And we open right back up at 12, and we're here till 4 o'clock. So we're available from those times. And we're located about 10 minutes away from downtown. We're right off of Lockwood and Navigation Street. As you can see, our location there, 601 Lockwood. And so if you put it in your GPS, make sure that you include the zip code, because there's a couple, I think there's two, there's a north 601 Lockwood also, and sometimes people get lost. But anyway, we were just talking a few minutes ago here, right before we went on, that we have a lot of construction going on right in front of our building. So the front entrance of the building is not available right now. So people are having to drive around to the back street and enter through the back street down Super Street and come into our location, but we're still available. But anyway, I'm gonna move on kind of show y'all a real live view of what we have. That way you can kind of get an idea of what we normally have. This is, when you click on the links that I'm gonna provide in the chat, there, it'll take you directly to this page. This is basically a Harris County homepage that Public Surplus has designed for us. Normally, we'll have any announcements or anything like that on here. As you can see on here, we have the parking lot entrance right now that's closed. We make little announcements on here sometimes. But anyway, once you get into this screen, you would come in and you log in. I've already logged in. And the first thing you would do is you would go to auctions. Once you click on auctions, you're able to see all the auctions. Like, these are actual live auctions for the public to see. And if you go to the very bottom, all the internal auctions are at the very end. Or you can go up here to the top where it says all auctions, and you can choose internal auctions only. So once you choose internal auctions, you'll see the internal auctions. If it looks this way, you can click on one of these tabs up here on top and it'll expand it. Sometimes it does that. I don't know why it does it. We've brought it up to Public Surplus and I don't think they've been able to figure it out just yet. But anyway, if nothing shows up here, click on one of these and it'll expand the page. But as you can see, these are all internal auctions. Normally, on this particular page here, all these have the key, like I told y'all before. They'll have all the key, and then we'll have all the various items that we have. We have a little bit of everything. If you click on any of these here, we have chairs, we have furniture, we have a lot of furniture, of course, and then we have a lot of IT equipment also. But these are actual real-time auctions right now. If I were to click on this cart, for instance, you click on the actual description and it takes you to the description page. Normally, it would tell you the cart, the title of the item that's there. If it's got a make or if it's got a model, if it's like some type of electronic, it'll tell you. In this particular case here, we've put dimensions of the item. And that'll give you an idea of how big it is. And then at the bottom here, you can click on the pictures. It'll show you exactly what it is. This is some type of like maybe audio video cart or something. But you can click on the pictures and view it, see what kind of condition it's in. It may interest you. It's maybe exactly what you need for your office. And then if you do see something like this that you're interested in, you may want to come and look at. The one thing that we ask people to do is to take down this little description here, the cart, and right behind the cart, it's got a location number. That location number tells us exactly where it's at in our warehouse. Our warehouse is pretty good size. Some of you have already visited our warehouse, but if you visit our warehouse, we have everything located. Everything's got its own place. So this location here will tell us exactly where it's at. and you come here looking for it, we can take you right to it, and you know, you can be on your way as quick as possible if you're in a hurry. So, but that's more furniture type like things. Let me move on to another page. We got a lot of chairs. Uh, you know, again, these are like kitchen-like chairs. Maybe your break room needs some chairs. These are some pretty decent chairs here. We have sets and we have singles. You know, you can kind of look through things. We have some IT equipment in here too. Give me a second. We have conference tables. We have desks. We have all sorts of things. Let's see, what else we got here? I'm trying to get to some, here we go. We got computers. Typically, all our computers, we remove hard drives, or they'll come in without any hard drives. Whenever computers come in, you may be looking for a computer. Usually a computer in the description will have the general description. It'll have the make, and it'll have a model number, and it'll also have the serial number. Many times, some of these computers come in and they may still have warranty under the service tag number, and you can kind of make assessments just from looking at some of these items. So we try to include as much information as we possibly can. We do not test because these auctions roll over to the public, and we don't test for the reason that we want the customers to come and test items before they bid. And I can kind of go over a little bit of that also, but you can see all the pictures of of all the items here. You know, you can tell a lot from these pictures. It's got the hard drive cradle. It may have RAM still in it. It may not have RAM in it. You know, you can make some assessments here just by looking at it. One of the things that I want to kind of go over also is that county employees can use this login also to bid on items that are up for public auction. But we strongly encourage people to make sure that they read all the rules. Harris County practices, let's see, where is it at? Let's see. Yeah, well, we have all the rules here at the bottom. We've kind of reiterated them in several places, but if you look at the rules, it says the responsibility to determine the condition of property rests with the bidder. Prospect bidders are encouraged to inspect the property, you know, prior to bidding, and to place their bids solely on their personal inspection and evaluation. This is super important. And like I said, when people come down here or when people view items in the county that want stuff for their office, that's why we want them to come and inspect them in person. We want to make sure that they're getting what they want and not, you know, showing up with something and it's not exactly what they wanted. Same thing when you bid on something. We want to make sure that you're placing your bid according to what you determine the value of that item is. But this is the gist of it. We can go back to just the general auctions. And again, when you're bidding on items, it tells you the description. You can click on the picture here and look at the pictures also. You can do that on the internal auctions also, kind of go through all the pictures. It tells you how many days are left. And it tells you the current price if it's up for auction. If it's an internal auction, it'll tell you the same thing. It'll tell you the description. It'll tell you how many days are left for internal reallocation. Now, this is something that I wanted to bring up also, because just because it says 3 days for internal auction, and let's just say, you know, we're closed tomorrow, you can't get here till next Wednesday. Well, this auction, after it ends on the internal side, it will roll over to the public side. Now, once it rolls over to the public side, we still make it available to the county departments. So if we need to pull an item off the public auction, we will pull it off the public auction. Typically, we just won't do it in the last hour because it takes a little bit of time to process it. And sometimes items will close, you know, within that, you know, it'll before we get to them, sometimes they close. But so we ask people that if you do see something that might have rolled over to the auction and you need it or you want it, that you come here as soon as possible, preferably an hour before it closes, and we can stop the auction and we can give it to you. That's no problem. But that pretty much concludes as far as, you know, an overview of the auction. Again, we do reallocate a lot of assets. We save a lot of money, I think, for departments, and we're able to, you know, give a lot of furniture, especially is what we mainly give departments that have either really small budgets or have no budgets for furniture. So we've outfitted many offices with a lot of stuff it's a great way to recycle, items that the county has up for reallocation. Saves a lot of people a lot of money, saves taxpayers money. And not only that, but even the auction items that go out to the public, they have a new life with the new owner. So a lot of these things, we kind of take for granted, but they do get recycled. We're able to, make a little money on the auctions, or we're able to save a lot of money for departments when they come down here.
That was great, Jerry. Could you also maybe kind of remind us how, if we had something that we wanted to take to the warehouse, what's that process again? Do they
Sure.
call you? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. The way you take things to the warehouse, we have a form. It's an Excel spreadsheet that we ask the departments to fill out. And on that spreadsheet, it pretty much has all the pertinent information, department name, contact person, and then it will have a space where you can list all your assets, whether they're capital assets or whether they're just non-capital assets. You'll put a description and model number, make, serial number, whatever you may have. You email that to us, we get you scheduled in, and you can either come and drop it off to us, or we go out and pick it up. But and I can include that information also right now in the chat. I'm going to include right now the links and all that to the website, but I'll include the contact person for surplus pickups also. Let's see.
Any questions from the group? I have a few other ones, but I wanted to open up.
Sure. Yeah, if you have any questions, yeah, please feel free to ask. Again, we deal with a lot of inventory. That's our one of our main functions here is Harris County capital asset inventory. So we deal with all the departments. We deal with trying to remove things off inventory that have either been lost, stolen, or damaged, or whatever may be the case. We try to help people clean up their inventories and kind of keep a good tidy inventory. And we're mandated also by local government code also to report annual inventory to Commissioner's Court and to every year. So, and that's coming up actually. On June 1st, we have to turn it in, but we normally have that date set for May 1st for departments to turn it in, because we got to prepare all the report and everything, get all our side of things done. But yeah.
You had mentioned the authorized inventory signer in each department. How do we find that individual?
Typically, you can call us and we can let you know who that person is. Normally, the director for the department will be an authorized signer. And typically somebody pretty close to him below, and then the inventory liaison will be an authorized signer for the most part. But the director will always be the authorized signer for sure. You can't, no fail there. But usually he will sign, 2, 3, 4 people to be authorized to sign also. But if y'all need a complete list, y'all can just when y'all are here or before you come here, you can call us and you can ask, who's my authorized signer, and we can give you that information. We keep a file of it, so we can give you who's authorized to sign.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Stuart,
Jerry,
you came off mute. Yeah, go for it, Stuart.
Yeah, Jerry, this is Stuart at Pollution Control.
Yes.
I have some questions. They're probably really just for my information. The stuff, I guess the surplus that goes for reallocation, is there a triage process? Is there some stuff that's surplus that there's no way it's going to be reallocated, or somebody's going to want it and y'all just move it out for public auction?
There are some items that do go straight to auction. Typically, those items are items that we know really are either broken but still can be repairable, or things of that nature. Or if we see some furniture that they will probably sell, but it's probably not gonna go out in the showroom. We kind of make those determinations. We get a lot of furniture in, so we kind of sort and weed through some of the things that we think are not gonna go out. We don't waste the time on putting them in here, because another thing too, some auctions run for 21 days, the internal auctions, and then they go to public auction and they'll run for another 14 days. So we have to store all these things, and so we do have to move some of the things sometimes, depending on how much volume we receive. Right now, we're pretty packed, so sometimes we'll shorten those days to 14 days on internal, and then 7 days on public. But it just all depends. We sometimes we do have to move things a little bit more rapidly. But if we know that it's something that's going to be reallocated, that's definitely makes the list for what we call our showroom quality, we will put it on, and then something that doesn't, we may just push it on to auction.
Okay. Good information. Another question is, is there a process for utilizing stuff that's surplus to maybe, I'm gonna put this in Stewart terms here, to maybe fix broken stuff, you know? Like
Typically, I mean, we, like us here, when it comes to furniture, we will do minor little things to repair it if it's something minor. When it comes to IT equipment and things of that nature, we normally don't test those type of items. We leave that to the experts, and a lot of IT people come down here and they'll be looking for certain things. They'll bring hard drives with them, they'll bring monitors with them, they'll bring laptops with them to test different things. And they're more than welcome to kind of go through stuff, and see what they can use and what they can't use. There's been times when they'll come out here and we may have a lot of monitors, and they'll sign out some monitors and take them back to the location and test them all out and make sure that they're not turning off after 5 minutes or something. And then some of them may not work, and they'll bring them back to us, and we'll receive them right back in, like if it was coming in a surplus. But yeah, we try to accommodate the county departments as much as possible when it comes to making things available to them.
Okay, good information. Last question is, ballpark on what the county recovers with these public auctions?
It depends. Typically we on a monthly basis, we're anywhere from, it could be anywhere from 35 to 70, $80,000 a month. It depends on what we sell. Some months are slow where we don't have that much surplus in the warehouse. Some months are really full. Some months is a lot of furniture. Furniture is one of the hardest things to turn and sell. Furniture is really difficult, especially in this day and age. A lot of our old buyers that we used to buy a lot of furniture, they're just not buying the way they used to. A lot of people are working from home, so the landscape has changed a little bit, and the furniture is quite difficult sometimes to get rid of, and sometimes we let it go pretty cheap, or sometimes it doesn't sell, unfortunately.
Okay, good. Thanks a lot. Sorry if the questions were out of.
No.
Those are
all questions are good questions.
Yeah, those are good. I mean, in alignment with some of the questions I had in mind too, Stuart, in terms of, Jerry had provided some really interesting data points last year after we kind of did the promotion of this service to county employees. Have you seen that maintain that level of reallocation, or has that dropped off? Like, should we talk about some campaigns?
It has dropped off a little bit. I think the last time you asked me, I think the first time it was, I think, like a 64% increase, and it was dropping off as the year was going on. But I mean, that's to be expected also. I mean, we're going to reallocate a certain amount, and it's going to have to drop off at one point or another, because we're reallocating more, and it's going to be more consistent. But these type of this type of information being made available to all the county employees, it really makes a difference. We've seen a big difference in the amount of people that were coming down here to pick out furniture and take it back, to their offices. Yeah, and again, most of the people that come over here, they've never been over here. A lot of the newer people, they've never been over here. They don't even realize that we exist, for that matter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, and also, I mean, and you've been over here, Lisa, to our warehouse. We keep a pretty tidy warehouse. Everything is very organized. I pride myself, and thank God I have a really good staff down here that prides himself on their work also. And we keep a pretty tidy warehouse overall. You know, the intake is one thing, but the actual space where the public and the county employees are able to view all the stuff, it's pretty tidy. We keep everything pretty organized, and we keep a pretty tight inventory of everything.
I will attest to that. Might be something that this group can also do a tour of later on. I think it is pretty amazing the amount of items, but it is very organized. It is very tidy. So
Yes.
And last question from me in terms of, do you all have like an internal time frame that you're trying to kind of move these items? Like, do they have a certain length of time before you have to dispose of them, or is that
Not necessarily. We have some things that we kind of keep rolling over. Like for a while there, we had a lot of sanitizer dispensers
Mhm.
that had come in from, I believe they came in from the county clerk's office. Anyway, we had a bunch of them, and we were relisting them throughout the year. Finally, somebody took them. We got rid of a whole bunch of them, and again, a lot of that came about actually last year through the interview that we did, that was shot out on that blast that y'all did. But it helped a lot. Sanitizer, what was another? There's several things that we do relist because we don't want to just get rid of them because we know that there's some value in them, and eventually somebody will take them. We got like desk side recycle bins right now. They're little blue bins, and we've been having those on for a while. We had a whole bunch of them, so we just keep relisting them. But the furniture, again, furniture is kind of difficult to get rid of, so we try to cycle through it because we get a lot of furniture. And matter of fact, there's a big project right now over at CJC that they're going to be getting rid of a bunch of furniture. They're buying new furniture, so we're going to get a lot of furniture over here. We're talking about truckloads, 18-wheeler loads worth of furniture. So, you know, we got to try to move that type of stuff because our warehouse is only so big. So we do have to move it. We can't store it for a real long time.
Good to know.
Yeah. But typically, again, like I mentioned earlier, typically we run the internals for about 21 days. If we have a lot of stuff, we'll shorten up the days. We play with it in order to move things through, because if not, we can get backed up pretty quick.
Great. Any other questions for Jerry? Okay, great. Thank you so much. I'm gonna stop the recording.